Hey everybody, welcome back from spring break. I hope you had an awesome time off and enjoyed the nice weather and enjoyed some relaxation. So today is Monday, April 17th will be the first time that anybody's watching this video. Just a reminder, the week of April 17th, Mrs. Love will be away at PSSA testing. I should be back on Friday, but watch your emails for announcements about my schedule. So even though I am not here, you are going to continue to watch the recordings in order. This recording is going to focus on Unit 11, Lesson number 5. I'm calling it Recording number 5, and it covers two chapters, Chapter 45 and 46 in our book. So just a quick reminder before we begin, see if you can answer this question. Who became president when JFK was assassinated? Hope you remember that one. Okay, I just wanted to revisit the schedule for you so you remember what you are doing. All of the recordings are in Edpuzzle, so if you're watching this, you found that. If you're reading this lesson and you forget how to get into Edpuzzle, then you have the instructions here. Remember, if you get confused at any time, if you get confused at any time about the schedule, you can go onto your online school into this folder and look for the schedule. I snipped out the schedule for today, for this week for you here. So if you were with me the week before spring break, you are going to be the red group. You're going to continue watching the recordings. If you were away at PSSA's before spring break, you are the purple group, and you're going to be starting with recording number 1. So if you're watching this, you need to stop and go watch recording number 1. If you are at PSSA's right now, you should not be doing any lessons until you return. Okay? All right, so here's what we're going to be doing today. We are going to continue talking about the escalating costs of Vietnam and the conflict and how much more the United States is getting involved. We're going to talk about how this affected the Great Society programs that President Johnson was trying to implement. And we're going to talk a little bit about what is happening with President Johnson, what are his strengths and weaknesses. So in 1964, there was a presidential election. Remember, Johnson became president when Kennedy was assassinated. So he was never really elected president. Well, he wasn't elected president. He was the vice president. And when the president dies, the vice president automatically assumes office. So with the 1964 election, this was his opportunity to get elected as the president because he didn't want to be called an accidental president. So think about what that might mean, accidental president. So what it means is just that he became president by accident, but that's not what he wanted to be known for. He wanted to win the presidency, and he wanted to win it big. And the election of 1964, if you look at the map down here, we've shown these maps before. The blue indicates the Democrat votes, and the red indicates the Republican votes. And so he wins huge. He gets the highest popular vote in the history of the United States. And not only does he win the presidency, the Democrats also win the majority of seats in Congress. So what that means is when the same party has the majority in Congress and has the sitting president, generally it means they can get a lot of things done because they can pass their own programs. And he becomes pretty successful at that, as we'll see. His background shows that he was good at negotiating. He was a senator before he became vice president, so he knows how to deal with Congress. So when he gets elected, just like all the other presidents that we've seen in the past, he creates his own set of programs and plans that he wants to implement. His program is called the Great Society. And the first thing he wants to do is get the Civil Rights Bill passed that Kennedy had been working on before he was killed. And then he kind of, comes up with his own ideas, and he uses FDR's New Deal as a basis for his vision, which is pretty much, consistent with a lot of things that we've seen from previous presidents. He wants to make sure that everyone has jobs. He wants to make sure people are not living in poverty. Everybody has a good education, and he starts a plan to have nationwide health care. So he's got pretty big ideas. Okay, so we're going to hear him talk a little bit about his Great Society speech in this speech here. What I'm doing now in these Edpuzzle videos is I'm trying to put the links into the recording. So it should pause for you and have the link to the video pop up on the screen for you. If that does not happen, you can still grab the links from your online school. This one would be in lesson number 5 on the video links list. So go ahead and watch. Okay, so if you want to pause the video here too and just take a moment and look at some of the things what he is doing with his Great Society plan. Everything from civil rights to healthcare to environmental protection. So pause and just read over this page. Okay, so what do you think? Quick check here. The Great Society was a continuation of the New Deal and the New Frontier. Is that true or false? Take a second to think about that. That is actually true. It was a continuation. All right, good. So one of the biggest accomplishments that Johnson has as president is he finally gets the Civil Rights Act passed. This happens in 1964, and pretty much what it said was that discrimination was against the law now, and it included helping anybody of any race could not be discriminated against. It also did things like help women get more equality. It helped children prepare for kindergarten. He started a program called Head Start, which was like a preschool program. He also started something called the Job Corps, which is to help people who did not finish school find good work. And then if you can continue to read this page, you'll see some of the other things that he had done. And then down here, go ahead and read through this whole page, and you're going to see some of the interesting things that he did to publicize this bill and to make it known that the United States was no longer going to stand for any type of discrimination against any class of citizen or any race or any religion. So go ahead and read through this. You can pause the video and come back. All right, so here is another video I want you to watch, and in a second the link should pop up for you in Edpuzzle. You can pause the recording while you watch the video. All right, so let's do another quick check. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. Did it A, give everyone the right to vote? B, made it against the law to discriminate against someone based on their race? Or made Lyndon Baines Johnson president of the United States? Which one do you think is correct? Well, if you said B, you are correct. Good job. B, it made it against the law to discriminate against someone based on their race. All right, another quick check. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 also helped lead to the creation of programs to help poor people, women, children, and immigrants live better lives. Do you think that's true or false? Think about that for a moment. That one is true. So if you remember that, good job. All right, so with all these new programs, things seem to be going well for him, but with the programs, he did have some challenges. His Great Society programs were very costly. All these new things had to be paid for. So one of the challenges was where to find the money to pay for these things. And with the passage of the Civil Rights Bill, we find that it's not enough now for people, because not only do they they're not satisfied with just not being discriminated against. They want more equality. And one of the things they decide now is that we need to make sure that everyone has the legal right to vote, everyone who's a citizen. So the people who are pushing for civil rights now begin pushing for fair voting laws. And we'll learn more about that in the future. And another challenge that he has is the Vietnam War is escalating, and it's costing millions for the United States. And we begin to see that a lot of Americans do not agree with us being involved in this war. And so that begins creating problems at home. So as Johnson goes through his presidency, you will see how more and more challenges present themselves, and he has a lot of problems to solve. All right, so we're going to stop here for today. I want you to make sure you have read chapter 45 and 46 in your book. If you don't have the book, you can get that online book under course materials in your online school. Please complete graded assignment 11.05 and make sure that all your previous graded assignments are completed. And that is it for now. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.